Have you ever pondered why certain people act in certain ways while others do not? Why do emotions, instincts, and behaviors entwine into a complex web that can occasionally produce predictable and other times totally unexpected reactions? What transpires in the body and mind following close intimacy? Let's investigate the reason why males instantly go to sleep while women long for ongoing intimacy. A woman is like a blossoming flower. The sun longs for ongoing gentleness. A man currently resembles a tired traveler curled up, halfway into the region of Morpheus hormones, with sweet words and sensuous contact. Call it biology, nature, whatever you want. But the fact is that everyone takes their own route after passion. Interestingly, women who don't mind touching their body tend to have greater levels of sex hormones, which influences both their amount of sexual activity and their level of sensuality. Attention, gentlemen. In bed, mutual understanding is about being able to surprise your spouse during intimacy rather than making big commitments. High expectations are like a house of cards. A little wind and disappointment will result. Let's now determine the boundary between myth and science. We're accustomed to believing that only a few people understand the mystery of female pleasure. But what if the reality is far simpler, and our conceptions of physiology are merely stereotypes? It turns out that certain women can achieve the highest level of pleasure only by stimulating their breasts or clitoris. This is not a mystery of human physiology, but among all the wonders of our body, there is one remarkable phenomenon. The female body frequently outlives the male in terms of longevity. Let's get to the real deal. Female sexuality is like good wine. It only unfolds with age, reaching the peak of its richness. Therefore, it's not surprising that women at certain stages of life become more inclined to transient connections and wild fantasies. It's also interesting to note that, contrary to popular belief, the majority of women do not pursue giant sizes. Average statistical parameters are more than enough for full satisfaction, and statistics show that about 80% of women prefer to test sexual compatibility first. Women place a high importance on nonverbal cues that are understood, such as how they look, play with their hair, or shift their distance. These are not merely arbitrary gestures. They represent an entire language that is worth studying right away. Amazing facts. Men's testicles generate an astounding 1,500 sperm with every heartbeat, and the human brain can maintain friendly relationships with 150 people at once. Our bodies are incredibly multifunctional, and since we've already discussed men, here's an intriguing observation. 80% of men notice the chest area first at first meetings, while women frequently unconsciously lick their lips when speaking to someone they find sympathetic. Since we're talking about private matters, let's talk about another significant factor: smell. It can sometimes trigger a real emotional storm, and yes, that well-known saying about "tell me who your friends are" is true. Couples who watch spicy films together typically have stronger bonds and mutual trust. Now, a little philosophy. A man's business speaks more about him than he does. In essence, fear of death is a fear of life itself, which is what complete existence excludes. If you're going to argue, do it only with people who can have productive conversations, because arguing with someone whose intelligence is lacking is a surefire way to end up nowhere before moving on to even more fascinating details. Panic fear of the final anger is a poison that primarily harms its carrier. It turns out that romantic music and films can increase a woman's openness to love, and that a man's mood is closely correlated with how appealing he is to women. Additionally, a woman is more likely to take risks and even commit infidelity during ovulation. Biology. Could you do some entertaining statistics? Women are far more conscious of their appearance than it may appear. Yes, dressing is a ritual that depends on a variety of factors, including mood, weather, schedule, menstrual cycle, and even the availability of necessary accessories. It is not merely a habit, rather, it is a manifestation of subtle psychology. Clothing serves as a language through which people convey their personal goals and intents, and if males primarily choose clothing based on comfort, women utilize it as a means of self-expression. How we feel is how we portray ourselves to the outside world. Interestingly, some research indicates that a person's dress color may unintentionally affect how other people view them. Red inspires feelings of desire, blue trust, and black respectability. Have you ever wondered why so many people wear these colors to significant events? Lastly, time is relative, especially when you're in love and with an attractive person. Hours pass by without anyone noticing, but if you find yourself in an environment where you want to stay longer, every second feels like an eternity. Psychologists' research has revealed that emotionally charged moments are remembered much longer than routine events, which is why the first meeting with someone special seems to last so long, and years of relationships pass by in a flash. Our brain literally slows down or speeds up time, depending on the intensity of the emotion experienced, so if you want to remember a moment, put as much emotion into it as you can. If you've watched this episode through to the end, you're obviously someone who wants to understand people and their subtle mechanisms. Congratulations! You now understand human psychology better than 90% of people around you. Use this knowledge to better understand others, build relationships more effectively, and even predict people's reactions. Before we part ways, let's talk about what surprised you the most from this episode. Perhaps you'll remember an intriguing case from life that relates to what we covered today. Your thoughts are valuable, and who knows, maybe they'll inspire the next episode. Please like, subscribe to the channel, share this video with friends, and remember that there is a ton of fascinating content to come.